not willing. Okay, good. Perfect. So because we received some requests from people that couldn't participate. So basically what we will go through today. So the purpose of the implementation and replication working group I already touched, and now Giacomo will start with a very quick overview of the BBEC project and what is its role in the bioeconomy education. We want also to understand and to explain you what is the role of this implementation and replication working group that basically is the core of our stakeholders in the project. I will provide an overview of what are the political vision for bioeconomy education, what are the outcomes of the bioskills, that is a tender that was just a study that was just released by the European Commission, and then provide you an overview of what are the projects founded projects and initiative founded by the European Commission or around the European Commission to support the bioeconomy education. Then we will go deep into our results, because it's a little bit more than 1 year that we are working in BioBEC. So understand what are the current needs for the 6 BBECs, and provide you some inspirational case studies. This will be under our partners. And then we will try to provide you an overview. Of course, we will provide you all the contents that you will be able to go in detail, but what are the BBECs, the 6 BBECs about? What are their uniqueness? Because each BBEC is not only, let's say, rooted in a specific country, but also has different formats, characteristics, founding mechanism, and we are developing, co-developing this with the local stakeholders and the implementation replication working group. And then we will go in an interactive panel discussion in which we would like to understand from your side what is your interest in the BBEC, so how you could be engaged in this activity and how we can help you and support you in your activities in your countries. And then specifically, we would like to understand how we could support you in the implementation and replication of the formats that BioBEC is designing for the bioeconomy education. So we will conclude. So this will be us and Unibo. And I will go quickly. I will leave quickly the floor to Giacomo. Luis, you also gave the superpower to Giacomo. Okay, I have to unshare, just a second. Okay. Good.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thanks. So I try to share. Can you see?
Yes.
And try in presentation mode.
Meanwhile,
Can you see also?
Good. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I would like to thank all the participants. Now we have 45 people, so thanks a lot for taking the time to be here with you. But this project is really something where we need your contribution and your support, and we would like to create this community. Giacomo, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Susanna. Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Giacomo Rinaldi, a PhD student at the University of Bologna, and I'm here on behalf of Professor Biaggi, who is the coordinator of the BioBEC project. Unfortunately, he can't join us because today here in Bologna, it's graduation day, so he had to be in the commission. But I bring you his greetings. Yeah, I would like to have a short presentation of the project. And first of all, the project, which is titled Preparing the Creation of Bio-Based Education Centers to Meet Industry Needs and Boost the Contribution of the Bioeconomy to Societal Challenges, is a project that started in 2021 and will last until 2024. In this project are involved 19 partners from all around Europe. And so we are many partners, but the reason is that we want to create a holistic framework for developing and establishing multi-level bio-based education centers, the BBEC that Susanna already mentioned. that with these, in our idea, the BBEX should be flexible enough to answer the present and future needs of the industry and of the surrounding ecosystem at the local, regional, and or national levels, so different geographical levels. As you can see here, the different stages of these are here. This flow represents the methodology of the project, where the first stage we had to find the needs and expectation of the area. Then the biobank educational center design in stage 2, and after that the biobank feasibility and assessment, and at the end of the project the rollout and replication strategy. Just to have a framework of what we are doing with where we are here, you can see the flow represented with the work packages, how we distributed our tasks. We started with the work package 1 by looking for the biobank actors, the network development, and mapping the analysis and exercises. Then we moved to work package 2, where we designed through co-creation and operational specification the BPEX. And now we are moving toward work package 3. We just finished the work package 2, and we are moving to work package 3, feasibility and sustainability assessment of the 6 BPEX. As you can see here, the 6 BPEX are in 6 different regions. Actually, the Italian is Italian and Spanish, so it's Mediterranean BPEC. Then there is the Irish one, the Finnish, the Polish, which is also from Czechia, and the Danish and the German BPECs. Then we will have the work package 4 at the end, the work package 3, about the plans for rollout and the replication of the BPECs. There is also a transversal work package that is about the dissemination, communication, and stakeholder engagement. Just to be very short, before I said that the BBEX are multi-level at the geographical point of view, but also multi-level at the educational point of view. Indeed, our concept is to have something that merges the different educational levels. And here, this is why we are today here. And the biobank aims to engage public bodies, industrial clusters, and educational providers, NGOs, multipliers, region and bioregions, and others, for example, citizens. So this is why for us it's really important to involve all the actors of the bioeconomy, and why we would like to have many of you in our IRWG group. So this is what was very shortly what we are going to do, and a presentation of our project. And yeah, I wish you a very nice workshop. Thanks.
Good, perfect. So let's go deeply on the results that you touched, Giacomo. So now I will pass the floor to Aleix, that is our colleague from University Autónoma in Barcelona. So Aleix, I have seen you, and so you can share. Great, perfect.
I understand that with great, you mean that I'm sharing the screen. Thank you. Okay, so I'm Aleix Barrera from Universitat Autònoma de Barcelona, and I'm going to briefly explain the results of task 1.2, where we analyzed which are the analysis of the needs, opportunities, and also expectations of the main stakeholders regarding the biobank centers. As you can see here, we did several surveys and also focus group and interviews. And the most important to explain here is that we asked the stakeholders about the educational programs and also what can be done from biobank to improve the current educational programs. Also, we asked about the collaboration with educational institutions. How can we collaborate from biobanks to foster this collaboration between industries, pet educational schools, or schools of secondary schools, and also primary schools, because there were some stakeholders that say to us or explain to us that it's important to start from the very beginning. We also talked about the certification of new competences and a skill that professionals are acquiring in the workplace. And we also asked them about other services that might be provided by BioBEC. And here there are the main results. I think in this slide, the most remarkable is that participants consider that it's important to create a training ecosystem with different options of training. This should come together with an increasing collaboration between disciplines, as well as between the different levels of educational system in order to increase the connections between specializations. So the main idea is create an ecosystem, because now we have several educational institutions, each one with its own educational program. And it seems that there is not a connection, especially when we are talking with people from the university. It seems that there is not an easy connection between the previous studies and what they are providing at university. And also sometimes we find the same between the different levels within the university. Here, the collaboration with the industries is a key element for two reasons. They say that it's important because they can help the educational institutions to identify the training needs and especially the gaps to facilitate the definition of these training programs. And also, BioBEC might facilitate resources to design in-house training within the companies. If we focus specifically in the educational centers, and this is linked to the previous slide, it appears that something very important is the need to strengthen this collaboration between educational providers and companies. And BioBEC should also provide a place to update the competences of teachers and trainings. Here, they highlight the importance of the associate professors in the case of the universities, and also when professors from other educational levels and also from universities can do stages in the companies in order to learn what's going on there and update their knowledge in order to transfer this knowledge to their students in the educational institution. Also here, it's important to highlight that the participants and the stakeholders consider that so many stakeholders should be involved in the BioBEC, such as administrations, companies, also professionals already working in the sector. So all of them should be involved in the educational institutions, and BioBEC should promote this collaboration of all these stakeholders with the educational institutions. Also, if we talk about educational certification, we saw that BioBEC should also become the structure to facilitate the identification of the key competences needed in the sector. At the same time, it's important to create a general framework to certificate the competences that professionals are already acquiring in their workplace. So in this case, BioBEC should identify which are these competences and should also identify how can we certify these new competences. It is also said by the stakeholders that BioBEC should provide micro-credentials linked to the training needs identified by the industry. So sometimes it's not needed to create a new educational program or a big one. We can talk about micro-credentials to update some of the required competences. And here, it's also important to identify a model to certificate these professional competences. So I think that this is the main idea, is to create this model to certificate professional competences already acquired by professionals in the workplace. And finally, we ask, as I said at the beginning, which other services might be provided by BioBEC. And here they highlight activities such as communicate what is bioeconomy, not only to people already working on it, but also to the whole society. Here they talk, for example, with the idea of have lifelong learning programs, or also the approximation of science to the society to foster the knowledge about bioeconomy, because you know that when we are talking with different regions and also with different professionals, it seems that the idea of bioeconomy is really huge. So it's important to highlight what is bioeconomy and understand which is the meaning of bioeconomy in each region, and also what we understand for bioeconomy in general. Also, the BioBEC should become the backbone of a regional and international network related to bioeconomy and also to circular economy education, and should also provide consultancy services one of these services could be the certification of professionals, but also consultancy to small, medium companies, which sometimes don't have the resources to do some consultancy by themselves. So BioBEC might help them in this process, identifying which are the experts or the professionals that can provide this kind of consultancy services. So the BioBEC should be also a network for professionals giving consultancy and for those companies in need of this consultancy. And this is all. I highlight the main ideas, but you know that in the website of the project, you can find, or you will find the report. So if you have any question, you can ask it later through email or in the later conversation. So thanks a lot.
Many thanks, Alex. So let's go, before we go into very detail of what we are doing, I just want to provide you an overview of where we are in a bigger picture. So for instance, what is the vision of the bioeconomy education as was expressed by Giuseppe Pellegrino from the GRTD during the project-to-project workshop organized 2 weeks ago in Brussels. So education and research and innovation are in the center of the European strategy for the growth. And this is very clear also from the European bioeconomy strategy, where a dedicated chapter is on bioeconomy education, training, and skills. So this is also emphasized by many studies. So for instance, this is a study that I mentioned briefly before, and we will provide you all this presentation in which you can go. So this study was, let's say, organized by the European Commission in collaboration with Deloitte, Empirica, and Fondazione Giacomo Brodolini. And it is an overview of what are the specific needs in 3 different levels, basically: higher education, vocational education and training, and entrepreneurship education. As the main results, and so thanks for the colleagues from this study that provide me these contents, there is an urgent need, and there will be an increase in relative demand up to 2030 in high-level qualification in the bioeconomy. With regards to the higher education, it is system thinking, connection with the local bioeconomy, technological and digital skills, but also transversal skills like collaboration ability and critical thinking have been identified as crucial to drive the change. And also transdisciplinary curricula should connect different viewpoints. And this is absolutely important also for BioBEC, because we really, as you can see, would like to put together different voices, different viewpoints. Actually, only 3% of relevant study programs are fully dedicated to sustainable circular bioeconomy, so there is a lot to do. And when it comes to vocational educational training, according to this study, this is one of the most relevant pillars that will have increasingly importance in the next year. There is a lot of increased demand for vet qualification in biotech, biochemicals, and also bioelectricity. And the majority of skills that are required are typically provided through vet. There is also a strong, let's say, need of providing continuous education and reskilling. And this is something that can be undertaken by vocational education and training. Also, entrepreneurship education is in the center of the debate, because it's important to boost entrepreneurial thinking in all the sectors. And actually, the entrepreneurship education and the sustainable education are kind of 2 separate silos, and they should be really converging somehow in order to drive the transition. We tried to map what are the projects and initiatives actually in bioeconomy education. They, as you can see, they touch different educational level, but also they have different focus. For instance, identification of skills and competences that are better responding to market needs, facilitate mutual learning and debate in order to really learn from each other and proceed in maximizing the exploitation of the different projects through hubs, community of practices, also to design innovative curriculum that are also transversal among different universities or other training centers. And then this is absolutely interesting. We need to increase also the capacity of actual stakeholders. To make an example, decision makers and policy makers should be reinforced with regards to these topics. And then, of course, the raise awareness and inspire the young generations, but also the large public is utmost important. Here we tried to map the different projects. We will provide you this, we cannot spend too much time, but we mapped the project per level of education. And here we mapped the projects per if they are concluded and therefore they have exploitable assets that you might use, ongoing, and even in that case still something to do, but there is a big bunch of materials that we can use, and then new projects that have been recently founded, for instance, under Horizon Europe, but also under Erasmus Plus and other funding sources. The last, let's say, highlight that I would like to point is that under the European Bioeconomy Network, that is this network of nearly 120 EU-funded projects and initiatives, there is a working group in bioeconomy education. And therefore, if you are interested, if you have a project or an initiative and you would like to join, please contact me directly. So during this workshop that took place on the 5th of October, so 2 weeks ago, 60 attendees representing 49 projects went together to discuss along 4 pillars, and one of the 4 macro areas, and one of the macro area was exactly bioeconomy communication and future skills for the bioeconomy and education. And you can see here the project that participated. The main outcome of this day was that there is really an urgent need to boost the collaboration among the projects and initiative in order to make the bioeconomy education something that is really corresponding to the stakeholders' needs. So we will provide you again all this information, including, for instance, there is a dedicated page under EU Bionet in which you will find all the project fiche, all the results, the exploitable assets. So really an impressive source of contents. Okay, good. So this will be my next presentation. So I will unshare and give you the floor to Professor Lewandowski from Hohenheim University. So Iris, you are, okay, good. Thanks a lot. We don't hear you if you are speaking. We see your screen, not full screen, but we don't hear your voice.
Sorry, yeah.
Good. Now we
Thank
hear.
you, Susanna. I'm too busy to get my presentation in the presentation mode, and hope it works now. Does it look well?
Okay, good now.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, good morning, everybody. Actually, in the frame of the BioBac and for being prepared to develop bio-based education centers, we did a research in best practice cases for bio-based education that are already there for centers, for bio-based education centers. And what we did actually is we looked for what we call bio-based education hubs. And what do we mean with that? With bio-based education hubs, we define them as regionally delimited constructs designed to build and coordinate a community of actors who offer education and training in the bioeconomy and promote also the knowledge and innovation in the field. That means the bio-based education hubs, as we define them, integrate various stakeholders. They promote cooperation between those stakeholders, and they include bioeconomy or bio-based economy as an essential part of their mission. and they have a leading role in the bioeconomy at either regional, national, or international level, and develop training, research, and innovation strategies, actions, and activities for any kind of educational level. And they are, and that's also important, established or are emerging as a hub with a long-lasting vision or strategy. So this is a result of our research. In an overview, you can see some of these hubs that we identified are at European level, some are rather at a regional or local level. And we have identified or characterized or clustered them into 5 kind of hubs. Those that are networks, those that we would call centers, those that we would call campuses, cooperative study programs, or clusters. So you see already that there are different formats for bio-based education hubs. And here we have elaborated some of, or this is an overview of all the examples that we could find in Europe. I hope here's not anybody that feels that his or her hub is not acknowledged here. Then we are happy to also take this up into our example table here. And you see there is little or only 2 cooperative study programs we have found so far. There are 3 hubs that we would call a real campus. There are many networks and clusters, and there is also a reasonable number of centers. And I cannot present them all to you now in detail, but what I'll do in here is to pick some out. So sorry for those that are not being picked, but I pick some out that at least show you nicely what we mean with such a bio-based education hub. And I start with type 1, which is a cooperative study program, and like to describe here, refer to the Master Biotherapeutics. There were 4 universities, 4 companies, and 2 Italian technological clusters in Italy, among them also University of Bologna, are together offering here a study program, a bioeconomy study program. So they are organized in a way that they have a committee in which the different stakeholders are together with the scientists, and they together offer here the education. And what is clear that it's actually the university who is more or less organizing the whole program. So this would be one of the examples of a cooperative study program. I'll rush to the next example, which we called a campus, and here I would like to describe here the development of the bioeconomy campus Straubing, which is in southeast Germany. It's not close, it's not really close to Munich, but more or less to Munich. It's actually an initiative of the Technical University of Munich. And what was interesting about this campus is that in the beginning, I don't know if you see my mouse, but in the beginning, there was a research center for bio-based resources and bioenergy. And at some point in time, the Bavarian government decided that they need to extend bioeconomy education. And actually, they put the campus where they offer different master and bachelor courses close to this research center. And close to some other centers. You can see here that there are technology platforms that provide facilities for bioeconomy research. And they were also already there. And so this came up to a campus where they connected the research facilities with educational or university education at master and bachelor level. And they have meanwhile also extended this to many corporations nationally and internationally. So this is one example of a campus. I can tell you that this was a real major endeavor for the Bavarian government, with also a lot of commitment and investments into that campus. I would like to give also some bio-based education hub examples for cluster or networks, and start with cluster Bioeconomy for Change. This is a rather large cluster with 600 members. And what you can see here there is really all kind of stakeholder from education that you can think of, including, of course, companies, but also research, transfer institutions, education organizations, and also, and I think that's very good, state and local authorities, financial institutes, consulting firms, and they clearly have an organizational model that is a cluster where they can also together take decisions. But what I find especially more interesting is that they also have here educational formats where they offer formats in connection to strategic partners through different events. And they also are looking for having a bioeconomy training program that is accredited. So that will also give credits and here formats to especially those people that are part of that are members of the strategic partners, that are members of companies, etc. I would also like to mention also another network here. Let's rather call it an alliance of which I'm also part, and all our members of the Alliance of the European Bioeconomy are also members here, project partners in BioBac. And the European Bioeconomy is an alliance of 6 leading universities in bioeconomy, leading universities over Europe, including the Agro-Paritech in France, the University of Bologna, again in Italy, University of Eastern Finland, the University of Hohenheim, the University of Wageningen, and in the Netherlands, and the University of Natural Resources and Life Science in Vienna. And this is a very strong alliance. So sometimes that we are too close, but actually we are still developing in that we first want to have a good cooperation within the alliance, to then in the next step open also for cooperation outside the alliance. And you can see here our governance model is very close to make sure that we have a good cooperation here. But what I would like to highlight here at this point is here again we have different educational formats that we offer, and our strategy is to increase especially the mobility and exchange opportunity for students, but also educators across disciplines and the European regions, in that we set up joint qualification programs. For example, the EBU label, which is a qualification program for European bioeconomists. And we also offer bioeconomy education at different levels, bachelor, master, PhD. And what is also important, and therefore the look into other clusters is important, we're looking for transdisciplinary exchange in the education. That means we also try to involve private sectors, policies, etc., into the education. And we will have here, we have a more and more stronger view on the conveyance of entrepreneurial skills. And here we also have recently come up in driving the Startup Village initiative, which also links to that. And of course, one of the important parts of our educational formats will be a digital education platform, which we will build up. So sorry, taking up a little bit more time for our own network, but let me still have, I think, a last best practice example, which I want to raise here. And that is for the bio-based education hub type 4, which we call centers. And here, I think that I don't know really how to pronounce it perfectly. The BioR-BIC center in Ireland. This is a very active center, I think, in the bioeconomy, which is funded by the Science Foundation in Ireland, together with industry. And also as an organizational model, a very strong governance model with scientific advisory, industry advisory, executive advisory, and they have research programs and industry committees. And here also there is education part of the whole thing, where they are providing especially also events that are related to certain opportunities, where it is to raise awareness about the bioeconomy in general, Ireland's bioeconomy. So that is to more the dissemination into the public, and also educational formats where they work together with their industry partners to offer educational formats. So what you can see here is that we have very different kinds of educational hubs, or if you want to call them bio-based education centers, or we got a lot of inspiration so that we can build our own bio-based education centers, and probably in a minute you will see that they all are very different, and that is also good because there are different formats, there are different approaches to tackle all the different dimensions of bioeconomy educations. And what we concluded from our best practice research is that clearly what is very important if you want to design a bio-based education hub or center, that you need to apply a long-term perspective. That is nothing that develops just as on a project basis, as a one-day fly, so to say. It's always good to involve in the university. You saw that in all examples, university are involved. And it is also important to involve other stakeholders, and this very early at the design of these centers. And that it's always important those models, those hubs that are successful have effective cooperation models and governance structures. It's always good. You saw by the examples that I showed very quickly maybe, but you saw that there's always research and education interlinked. So it's always good to create models here for cooperative research also in these centers. And the co-creation of suitable education programs and formats. That's why I also put an emphasis on transdisciplinary exchange involving industry and policies or stakeholders into education together with universities. You saw that for especially the large centers, political support is needed, at least for the investment, if not for the whole, also starts and performance success of these centers. Networking is a central part of all centers. Very important that there is networking, which has to be done with dedication, because it takes a lot of energy and motivation to do a successful networking. That, of course, means that stakeholders need to be interested in contributing, and diversity is always helpful in building such a center. So far about my examples and conclusions, and thank you, Susanna, for the time and chance to present here.
Thanks a lot, Iris. We are really getting on the core. So it is very nice to see this overview of what has been done. We are trying really to be more wide and open to understand exactly what is going on all over Europe. This means that we are very open for your new ideas or suggestions. So the interactive part will also be open to this. So please provide us. I see that already on the chat there are some examples. So please also keep these as examples for the Miro exercise, because the idea is really to create a community. So let's go directly now to the explanation of what are the 6 BBECs, because as I already mentioned, the idea is to try to define unique formats in order to better respond to the different needs. And the BBECs are not only different geographically, but also conceptually. So I invite my colleague Katri Rusanen, I don't know if I pronounce it correctly, from University of Eastern Finland. Okay, Katri, thanks a lot, to present an overview of what are the different BBECs and their uniqueness. Thanks a lot.
So, hi everyone, I'm Katri Rusanen, and I'm a doctoral researcher from the University of Eastern Finland. And today I will be presenting you some of the work we have been doing in the BioBEC project in the work package 2. So we have been designing the business models and governance structures of the six pilot cases, the 6 BBECs in different regional areas in Europe. So to start, we are going to begin from the Mediterranean Europe hub, so the BBEC 1, and which is based in the three European countries, Italy, Spain, and Portugal. In their co-creation workshop, they have identified these several key partners involving different IRWGs, their university partners, actors from the industry, including smaller and larger companies, private companies, then different actors from the European level in the public administration, and also some actors from the educational and training institutions, including public and private ones, and also the technology transfer centers and non-EU bioeconomy expert and entities.
Sorry, Katri.
So
I would like also to add that we have also Greek partners. Yeah.
all right.
Not
thanks.
all, yeah, with all the Mediterranean area. Yeah. Just to
Very good.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. And yeah, today in the presentation, I'll be focusing on these three elements of the business model. So I'm not going to present the whole business models of each BBEC. And yeah, the focus is here in the value propositions, the target beneficiaries, such as the different customers, so to say, and the key activities the BBECs perform. So with the Mediterranean BBEC, the group of actors, they have identified these different value propositions, and they are creating value through facilitating the different delivery of bioeconomy education and training services, which is very commonly in other BBECs as well. They are aiming at contributing to the industry's education and training needs, and they aim at exploiting the synergies between the education and innovation processes, as well as the communication and awareness rising through the collaboration and networking. They also aim at filling the gap of the individual needs of the industry, and which have not already been covered through other educational institutions. And when it comes to the target beneficiaries and the customers, the Mediterranean BBEC, they have identified these students as their key beneficiaries, and the different workers that aim at reallocating their curriculum, and industry, of course, different research centers, the academia, educational and training institutions, schools in different levels, and public administration, and non-educational and not in education or employment and training, the people who are involved there. And the key activities, which are the main activities the BBEC is doing to answer to the business model, they are aiming at matching the demand and supply of the educational training services by different brokerage and matchmaking activities. They also aim at valorizing the existing teaching material, and also to create the common teaching materials for others. They aim at training the trainers at all the different educational levels identified, and also identifying the different priorities or skill profiles in education and training needs. And finally, they aim at reallocating or improving the students' curriculums, so to answer to the industry's needs. And the next BBEC I'm going to present is my local one, so the Finnish one, Northwest Europe, which is based naturally in Finland. And we have identified and are aiming at involving these key partners, which are the three educational organizations in our regional area in Eastern Finland, including vocational school, university, and University of Applied Sciences, and business development agency, some governmental organizations representing the research, and also a European link to the European Forest Institute. And finally,
Katri,
there is also the Finnish.
Can I ask you to be more, let's say, short? Sorry,
Yeah.
but we have to. So we will give all these detailed information. They are very interesting, but maybe they will go step by step, because I would like to leave as much as we can space
Yes.
for the discussion.
Very good.
Thanks a lot. And of course, these are the initial key partners, but the reason why we are here for all the BBECs is to try to expand our network of partners. Okay, sorry for the interruption,
Yeah.
Katri.
Perfect. So when it comes to the business model, our main value proposition here is to create these thesis topics for students and different work opportunities, and to connect to the companies so that the different students are working in the companies as trainees or employees, and then connecting the research and also the different business potential coming together. And from the key customers, we have identified all the different educational institutes, the students, research institutes, their researchers, all the companies in the region and also outside, and also the different regional and global political actors. Our key activities involve different kind of organization and coordination of the open cooperation platform, online based, and the knowledge transfer and creation, among others. And then I will jump to the third one, which is the Danish BBEC. And here is presented their key partners involving also universities and research institutes and business development agencies and so forth. They have identified their value propositions, which include, for example, the improving of the different competencies and skills, networking, and combining these sustainability themes in their value propositions. Their target beneficiaries are including also the actors from the educational levels, different startup businesses and farmers, green advisory services, for example. And finally, the key activities include organizing different kind of events, including hackathons, and organizing courses and education, for instance. And then I will jump to the Irish, the fourth BBEC, and they have involved their key partners in the development of their BBEC, and also including similar level actors as in the other BBECs. So including companies, research, governmental organizations, and so on. Their value propositions include providing this competitive advantage via our center reputation and expertise within bioeconomy, connections to international, European, regional connections and networks, also mentoring and coaching services or programs. And also I'd like to mention the different VR and augmented reality spaces and technologies here. Their key customers, beneficiaries are very similar also. And I could mention here that the media is there mentioned as their key customers, which is also very important during these years. And their key activities include the different matchmaking, funding and brokerage services, different courses related to bioeconomy and environment and sustainability education, and also the linking activities to networks and so forth, and EU funding opportunities. And next, the fifth BBEC is the Eastern Europe one, including Poland, the Czech Republic, and Bulgaria. And here they have divided their key partners to academia, research institutes, government, NGOs, and the industry, including small and medium enterprises. They are creating value through raising awareness regarding bioeconomy, organizing or matching different partners for joint projects, or providing different expertise in the bioeconomy, for example. And their key beneficiaries are considered different education, research institutes, and different companies and startups. And from the key activities, I am going to mention their their aim at providing information about the education and training, and also within the vocational education, and also the materials provided for these levels, and supporting the international mobility of students and science staff. And finally, we have the 6th BBEC, which is the Central Eastern Europe German BBEC, and also key partners here listed include different educational organizations, governmental institutions, and so forth. They aim at creating value through connecting different experts, and also consulting services and providing education materials. Their key customers are considered different industry educational level actors, as well as policy and social actors. And the key activities for this BBEC include creating the framework for the bioeconomy related curriculum, and as well as identifying and mapping existing courses, as well as creating new ones, and creating and maintaining a homepage for the BBEC. So thank you. That was in brief.
Great, Katri, you were very at the point. Of course, there are thousands of information that you would like to digest and to go through, and this is the reason why we will send you this presentation possibly today. Yes, today I think, Selenia, we can package all the presentation, and therefore we will send you later on the results of the Miro. So we will structure, but in order to not lose time and give you the possibility to start, let's say, elaborating a little bit, we will give you the package of all the presentations today. Okay, so now I think your brain is nearly exploding with all this information, and now it's time to work together. So if Luis, you can share the Miro, and we will also put here. Okay, great. Selenia already put here the link to the Miro board. So in the chat, there is the Miro board. So you can simply click enter, and let's start working together. If for any reason you cannot add or enter the Miro, because maybe you are in the cell phone, you can write your questions here in the Zoom chat, and we will bring it back. So the first question we would like to explore with you, after all these insights that we tried to provide you, we would like to know what is your interest in the BBECs. I guess that most of you already worked with Miro in the last 2 years, but if you don't, you can use the little wheel of your mouse to zoom in and zoom out. Luis, can you show the zoom in and zoom out? So to zoom, yes, like that, to zoom in and to be able to write it, you can use the wheel of your mouse. You can, with the right bottom of your mouse, you can move, you can pan the screen, and then you can take the little sticky notes and move them. So why we put the different 6, you see in the picture here, we have 6 different BBECs. So now is the time to try to think if you would like to be mapped or to be kind of connected to one or even more BBECs. If you don't, because you would like to act at European level, you can put your sticky note in the blue part where there is the map and possibly around your country. So if you are from Tunisia, you can put it in Tunisia. What we would like to know is after our presentation, what type of interest you foreseen, so how you could be involved in our activities. And to do this, of course, we would like to know something about you. So for instance, I'm a company, and I would like to be engaged in I don't know, exchanging students with my company, or I'm an university and we would like to expand the bioeconomy. So something like that. So who you are and what is your interest. I see that there are already some Non ti si sente. We don't hear you. No. Of course, once you write, you can write in the sticky notes, but then you can drag and drop the sticky note inside the image on the right. So take your sticky notes and move it in the image inside the different images on the right. So I've seen that someone already did it, and I see that someone is doing so. I also would like to ask the partners, the biobank partners responsible for each BBAC, if you can write, put a sticky note with your contacts, so the colleagues can be enter directly in contact with you. I see that here I'm an university. If you want to write which university, so we know who you are. If you don't want to put your name, okay, no problem, but maybe put the affiliation, so the university you are from. So we can then, and particularly the responsible for the different BBAC, can then enter in contact with you. Because again, the idea of today is really to expand the network of the partners that you have seen in the presentation that was done by Katri. So there are already some partners that we identified, but of course, we would like to expand our networks, and especially to work with you in the different biobanks. So again, move the sticky notes in the area in which you would like to be allocated or to be connected with. So take the sticky note and drag it. Okay, if you are transversal, you can put it not in a specific, so for instance, this one, okay, exactly. This one that is, I guess, from Tremere, yes, is from the Climate Coalition, can stay, or I've seen also from the Bioeconomy Youth Ambassadors, can stay all over the Europe. Of course, you can also take the floor and say something specific. I've seen, for instance, Han, so in the chat. So Han, again, if you want to be located in a specific BBAC, or if you want to say around. Okay, Carmen, also you can put your sticky notes, so you can move your sticky notes in the center. I see that you wrote it. The Bioeconomy Ambassador, I think, is Carmen, so you can move it, you can move the, yes. To write inside the sticky notes, if you don't succeed, you can double click. If you double click in the sticky note, you write inside the sticky note. So I see here, creating and sharing knowledge around circular bioeconomy, turn this knowledge into practice through education and training activity. If you want to put also your organization, your name, then we are able to contact you back. So we will move this. I see, let me enter also the Miro by myself. I see that there are many people in okay, so it is also important, for instance, here we have people from other organizations like Climate Coalition, we have Tremere here, and it is important also to start thinking a little bit wider and to connect and to understand how we can connect the bioeconomy education with other type of education, like, for instance, entrepreneurship education, because we can, first of all, cross-fertilize with initiatives that are taking place, but also try to really expand the impact to not work in silos. Good. Okay, so I see from the Mediterranean, we already have Paola from University of Teramo, Professor Pittia, that already wrote. I know that you're working in agri-food and you are working in several Erasmus Plus projects, so we will come back to you, Paola. Cluster Spring is already in our loop, but is very important player in the country, in Italy. So we are also looking for stakeholders in Greece and in other Mediterranean countries, including the North Africa, to make an example. So we also see PhD students that would like to be involved. Okay, the partners, please. Okay, great. So Damian, maybe, okay, great. As you see, for instance, Damian put his contact, his name for the Central East Europe hub. So if you want to contact him directly, because in the next month in BioBack, there will be several activities in the different BioBacks, because the model that Katri presented is not written on the stone. The idea is really to keep on working, to keep on improving the formats, and therefore we will really need you and invite you. Which one, Luis? Oh. Okay, good. So if for instance, we see here, I'm working in a technological center. If you want to put your contacts, or at least if you don't want to share the email, we understand, but if you want to put at least your organization, then we can come back to you through your registration. So if you want to share your email, feel free. If you don't, simply put the organization so we are able to come back. Okay, so
Susanna, and if someone wants to elaborate a bit more of what he or she has in mind, or what is their interest, feel free to open the mic. Huh?
Sure. Also, if you have a good story to share with the colleagues.
Yes, I also put Giselle's sticky notes on her behalf, because she's having problems with the Miro, and she's located in France, so she could also have a role in our Be Back Mediterranean, maybe. And she said that, I don't know, Giselle, if you want to open your microphone and maybe elaborate more on the sticky notes you provided.
Yes. Yes, of course, Eleni, as you said, we are a campus of trades and qualifications here in France. We work with bioeconomy education. We raise awareness with young students in high schools, middle schools, bachelors and masters as well. And we are very interested in participating with you and learning from this beautiful project that you are developing, and find a way we can collaborate together in order to enrich our both experiences and find new possibilities for students, if it is possible, of course.
For sure, yes, this is exactly the purpose of today. we are here to know each other and to expand our network. I also see that David, I don't know the pronunciation in Poland, in Polish, but we have also his contact here in the chat. So if we want to move him inside. If someone like Giselle would like to take the floor to say a couple of words about what you do and how you believe you could be involved in the BBEX. Open your microphone and speak.
So I'm sorry, my name is Kolis Fragisos. I'm professor of biotechnology in the chemical engineering department in the University of Athens. And unfortunately, I was not able to use the system to give you what I prefer to do, but I would like to participate in any way. I have, just to give you an idea, I create two master course about bioeconomy and law, and another one about biotechnology and bioeconomy. The first one on bioeconomy and law had to do with that you know that there are many applications biotechnology can be used in the area of bioeconomy, but people are afraid of using it because of the several restrictions. And so that's why we include this course, law and bioeconomy. And I would like to participate in many of your activities. I was not able to do it now online, but I hope I'll have an opportunity to give you my preference in another way.
Perfect, perfect. Thanks a lot. And if you want to write it, but in any case, we have your details because when you registered, we have your details. But if you want to write a couple of words here in the chat, directly on the chat of Zoom, we can transfer inside the Miro board a couple of things, because this is very interesting. So again, this type of different way of thinking bioeconomy education, like bioeconomy and law, are absolutely relevant and interesting for us. So I guess you could be involved in the Mediterranean ones. If you are in Greece, I guess you are in Greece because it was a University of Athens, no? Okay, good. So maybe if you want to put some more information, if you want, because we have your information, but we cannot share your information. So if you want to share the information with the other colleagues, not only with us as a bioback, but also with the other colleagues, feel free to do it here. I think we can proceed to the next question, Luis. So if you can open the next question. That is how the BBAC could be implemented or replicated in your context. Again, the concept of BBAC is more a format and is more a think tank and education hub. Some are more implementation apps, but it is a concept that we are still developing. So here, what we would like to know is to try to connect what you told us before and what you can tell us even through co-creation meetings that we are organizing and we will organize in the future. So how you believe that the BBACs can help you in boosting the bioeconomy education in your countries? I also see no, non ti si sente. We don't hear you, Luz. No.
Please don't change the color of the second question of the sticky notes so that we know to which category they belong to.
Since I see in the chat that I'm receiving some interesting insights about Erasmus Plus projects, for instance, outcomes of Erasmus Plus projects, if you can put it here, okay. Otherwise, if you cannot, you put them in the chat. This was I mean, David, I put it in the chat, or you put it in the chat not only to me, David, but to everybody, so everybody can see it. If you want to say a couple of words, again, you are welcome. So what you are doing in your activities, and remember that the European Bioeconomy Network, that actually counts nearly 120 projects and initiatives, is really looking for new collaboration. So come back to me if you want to become member of the EU Bionet. Okay.
Susanna, I'm checking the messages in Miro, and I see something. Some of them are very interesting, and actually, people are looking for more information. So, if you can, if you want, please switch on the mic. For example, I see now something in Finland. There is a question or curiosity for more information. if you want, you can switch on and say your opinion or comment or question. If not,
I think that's my sticky note you're talking about. Yes.
yeah.
Okay. I'm working with Han van Os on the BioGov project, so that's one. But also I am working in the Center of Expertise Bio-Based Economy of Avans University of Applied Science on a project where I am organizing a bio-based battle between universities of applied science in Finland and the Netherlands. And yeah, I was curious about the group, where I put my sticky note on. What's it's about, what they are doing as activities, and how we maybe can work together.
Great, Mara,
Thanks, Mara. I just saw your sticky note. I can send you an email and give you a introduction about the BBEC. We have actually already a name for it. It's called Green Hub. But I will contact you so we can talk. It sounds very interesting.
Yes, let's talk. Yes, I wrote down my email on the sticky note. So yes.
Perfect. Thanks.
Okay, so this one that is in the center of the screen, I'm an academic research center in the earth of a biorefinery. Do you want to say a couple of words and tell us where is located this center? Who wrote this sticky note? That is the sticky note about training researcher through research, doctoral students, 30 per year, postdoctoral students, 15 per year. Who's the owner of this? Can you open your mic? You're shy. Okay, if you want, feel free to intervene. So again, I would like to mention that there are two ways of collaborating that are not contradictory. So one way is to collaborate directly with the single BBECs. But in the other end, since the project would like to really facilitate the cross-fertilization and exchange of ideas and mutual learning, there will be some, let's say, transversal activities like the one that we are organizing today, in which we come back and we try to really exchange the experiences, the results, like what we are doing today. So any other experience that would like to be shared?
Susanna?
Go ahead.
I have a little question. It's not concerning what you said before, but I would like to know if these BB centers are considering vocational education as well, because as they said, they're all levels of education. I was wondering that if vocational education was included.
Yes, of course, each, as Katri explained, each BBEC as a specific focus, because this is designed according to the needs. But of course, we are still elaborating, and since vocational training was identified as central in many BBECs, this is one of the focus.
Okay, because I think that can be a very good opportunity for us to collaborate and maybe to exchange experiences, because we have some experience around that.
Sure, and then consider that one of the activities that the implementation and replication working group is doing is exactly this, cross-fertilizing horizontally among different experience, but also among different levels of education, and try to understand how
yes, of course,
they can
definitely. Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other contribution?
We need more space for the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean is full of sticky notes.
Yes, the Mediterranean is one of the, let's say, different formats, because it includes many countries. So the format that we are experimenting is a format that is more, let's say, wide, while there are other BBECs that are specifically in a region. So as you can see, the format that we are experimenting can be focused on a region and therefore on the specificity of the region, or can be more transversal and more wide, like the Mediterranean, that will have, of course, a role that is more facilitating the exchange of experiences, as well as, of course, creating a hub for the students to, let's say, be more flexible even in their future careers and future curricula. Good. So from the north, the Denmark, someone is interesting, because I see that actually, because I know that today is a holiday in Denmark, so maybe this is the reason why they are not all present, but we will leave this Miro board open for the next days up to the end of the month. So if you want to invite your colleagues to enter, to add additional information, feel free to do it, because this is what we would like to reach in the next days.
I also saw an interesting sticky note from Isabella Pisano from the University of Bari. She basically suggested that she, as university researchers, and also her team of postdoc and PhD students, are really interested in being involved in the BBEX activities. And she put the sticky notes not only in the Mediterranean one, but also in the Central East Europe Hub, Germany, and in Northwest Europe Hub. So this means that we can cross-fertilize among these three bio-based education centers already.
And I've also seen that there are stakeholders not directly in the academic world. This is absolutely important for us, because BioBac really would like to merge the different stakeholder needs, the industry, the policymakers, also the civil society, and the education framework, the education academic world. So also vocational training and entrepreneurship education. So we are absolutely relevant if you belong to the policymakers, or if you belong to innovation hubs, for instance. You are absolutely central in this process. I don't know, Giacomo, if you want to say something, or the BBEC coordinators.
Yeah, yes, I am. Now I was moving toward a presentation. Yeah, I prepared a sort of contact list, one contact for each BBEC. So I will share it on, I believe I will share it on in the chat. But also, if you would like, I add it in my presentation. So here, there are now you can, in the chat, you can see all the contacts for each BBEC, the coordinator of each BBEC. So if you would like to contact the person in charge of the BBEC, please do it. Of course, we enjoy it. And after that, yeah, I will add it also in my presentation. So when we will share it, it will be possible for you to find your the person for your BBEC. Yeah.
And of course, with regards to the participation, the membership of the implementation and replication working group, that is this more transversal entity, of course, you can contact Giacomo as a coordinator, or Davide Viaggi, or you can contact us, FVA, and you have all the contacts. But in any case, basically the coordinator, or even us as organizers, and then we will speak with them. I think that we are getting to the conclusion. So we are open to one or two questions. Otherwise, we will sum up. So do you have any questions specific? This is the moment to ask. Apparently, no. Any question? Okay, so we will go to the, let's say, final, the conclusions and next steps. So again, as I already mentioned, we will leave the Miro board open. So in the next days, you will be able to go in and to add additional insights, but also to suggest additional stakeholders that you have in mind that maybe you know that could be interesting to be involved in this implementation replication working group, or in general in the BBEX. So you can add their names, or you can send their names to us. Then for the ones that participated today, we will invite you, we will send you, this will be Giacomo more, so the coordinator, Giacomo and Davide Viaggi, to send you the invitation to be part of the implementation replication working group in a more formal way through letter of intent. Of course, this is not a binding activity, but we would like to really formalize this in order to make sure that you will be in the loop and you will be active part of our project. In the various BBEX, as the colleagues already mentioned, in the next month, there will be several co-creation activities. What we did is the initial, let's say, design, but in the next month, we will keep on elaborating and fine-tuning the format of the BBEX in order to better respond to the needs of the stakeholders. And therefore, the contact with the direct person responsible, the ones that Giacomo put here in the list, but also centrally to the project. And there will be a next implementation and replication working group. We don't know exactly when, but probably it will be late spring, beginning of summer. And the idea is again to cross-fertilize and mutual learn among the different BBEX, try to understand what were the insights and to update you on where we are and where we want to go. Okay, so Giacomo, do you want to add something?
Yeah, no, nothing very so important, but thank you, Susanna, for everything, for this perfect organization and for this day that was very important for, I believe, for the project. I would also like to add that, yeah, of course, when you want, you can contact us as coordinator or directly the people in charge of the local BBEC. For us, it's very important that we have local action, but also to still have an European vision. So we would like to have an exchange of ideas and to still have, to try to have the BBEX has a sort of practice of the European strategy. So yes, please, I saw many ideas, many suggestions, many things. We will have the time to develop them, and yeah, please come on board. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So first of all, I think we can close here because I see that some people have to go, and then we finish our time. Thanks a lot to all the partners that were explaining so in a very quick but detailed way the overview of what we are doing. I would like to thanks, of course, the team, the FVA team, so Selenia, Luis, and Yakovos that were supporting the organization of this event. And of course, I would like mainly to thank all of you for being always so active, engaged, and enthusiastic in following the different activities. So thanks a lot, and talk to you soon. Stay in contact.